Now I'd like to request my loving student Abul Bashar say something about today's topic. Okay.
So, guys, at first, please take my Quran. Assalamu alaikum wa for Hindu's personal role of others. So, today I will be talk about voice, some basic knowledge about voice, basic thing about voice. So, we have at first, this Amrita Islam Bashar speaking from Select English, and I'm a student of Burdo High School in class 7. So, now at first, we have to know what is voice. So voice is a form of verb which indicate the work has been done, which indicate that the work has been done by the subject or the subject done the work. So in here, the voice has three forms, but into one class or another class, we know that there are two kinds of voice, but into modern English there are three kinds of voice. So which are active voice, passive voice. In here, active voice and passive voice is the old I think so that into old grammar, but into new grammar, active voice,
Okay,
passive voice.
I want to share with you, Bashar. Actually, this is not your wrong, but in traditional grammarian thought it that voice can be divided into two types. One is active voice, another is passive voice. But in modern grammarian, they think it that quasi-passive also included in a voice.
Sorry.
Okay, so this is the case. Okay, carry on. Carry on, my dear.
Uh, then quasi passive voice. Okay, at first, what is active voice? Into active voice in here the subject is has been highlighted, so we can tell that in when the subject has been highlighted and the verb is in active because of the subject is in active here. So the example is honey tastes sweet, and after that the passive voice into passive voice you can see that the the work or the object has been highlighted. So in here the subject will be not so much highlighted. So we can tell that into which part the object into which part the object is highlighted upon the verb is passive and the subject is because of the subject is passive. So in here the work has been done by the subject, not the subject done the work. So in here the or the object is highlighted. Then quasi passive voice. Into quasi passive voice, quasi passive. The quasi passive voice look like it is an active voice, but into the sense or meaning, the quasi passive the into the sense or meaning, the quasi passive voice is passive voice. So in here you can see that quasi passive voice contain two type of voice. It looks like active voice, but it is a passive voice. So we can make a quasi
Looking active, that means structure looking active, but in meaning or
passive.
sense passive. Okay. Yes.
So we can make it by two ways: verb with a complement and verb without a complement. Uh, in here, uh, a sentence with in here a sentence with the object and sentence with the complement. They have some difference between into the relation with subject or object. Into the complement, the subject and the into the complement, the subject and the object they have a relationship, but into the object into a sentence as an object, the subject and object they don't have some serious relationship between them. So that's all about my previous class.
Okay, thank you very much. Now I want to give chance to SM Faisal about voice.
Thank you, sir, for giving me the chance to say something about our previous class. So at first, I give my identity. This is SM Faisal speaking from Buida High School, and I'm a student of class 7. So now I talk about voice. So at first, we learned that what is a voice. So voice is the form of the verb which indicates whether the subject does the work or something has been done to it. So there are three kinds of voice, which are passive voice, active voice, and quasi-passive voice. And in the we know that there are two kinds of voice, which are active and passive voice. But in modern English, modern grammar, I says that there are three types of voice, which are active voice, passive voice, and quasi-passive voice. So what is an active voice? At the when the when the subject of a sentence is the door of actor or the verb is in active voice, it is so because the subject is active. In here, the subject is highlighted and subject work is more like I like mango. This is an example of this active voice and in the passive voice. So what is a passive voice? When the subject of a sentence is acted upon, the verb is an passive voice. It is so because the subject is passive in here, so that the subject work is more, but in the here the object is highlighted because object work is most important than in here subject. So the object is most highlighted, and in here the quasi passive voice. So what is an quasi passive voice? And quasi passive voice is a quasi passive voice is in active in front by passive in sense. It means be changed in the passive voice in the following way. And quasi passive voice like structure is like active voice, and somebody are like wrong in this thing, like they are think that the quasi passive and active voice is same, but that is not a same, that structure is same. Then the quasi passive can be made into two ways, which are verb with a complement and verb without a complement. And now I say about verb with a complement. So there is, I give some examples like active, the honey tasted sweet. So in the passive, honey is sweet when it is tasted. So when we are think that this is when we are think that this is active voice, so that's like that we are in the when we are make it passive, so we say that the sweet tasted honey, but that is wrong in the when that is we say passive, so we the passive is honey is sweet when it is tasted. So there is some structure one, the subject plus be verb plus adjective plus when plus pronoun form of subject plus be verb plus be3. And the another structure two, subject plus be verb plus be3 plus adjective. Then there is a question from this structure because there is a question. So what the difference between a complement and object? So example is honey tasted sweet. This is a complement sentence because honey tasted sweet. When we make it passive, so that's like honey is sweet when it is tasted. But when the we are maintain the active voice rule, so that are wrong. Like sweet is tasted honey, so that is wrong. So in that case, they help me. So this is an object. So that's all my information about previous class. So that's all.
Oof. Awesome performance, SM Faisal. Now I want to give chance to another speaker, Nuria. Today's class, you say something
Thank
about
you.
today's class.
Thank you, sir, for giving me a chance to say about today's class. Today we have learned that verbs without a complement. For example, active voice. The house is building. There isn't a complement, but there is a complement. There is subjective complement, which is building. In passive, the house is being built. Then transitive verb and object. How can we will be indicate that? Generally, in transitive verb, we can't change the voice. That means which verb has object, we can only change the voice in that sentence. In transitive verb, if we try to change the voice of intransitive, we can, but it has make another rule, in go, laugh, run, fight, fly, and this all are intransitive verb. um and then, do you know, guys, how can we will be change the voice active to passive? There is 5 rule. Number 1, active voice এর objective passive ভয়েসে গিয়ে তার সাবজেক্ট হিসেবে বসবে, অর্থাৎ ওই অবজেক্টের সাবজেক্টিভ ফর্ম যা হবে সেটি বসবে। যেমন যেমন মি হলে আই, Number 2, active voice এর অবজেক্টটি যেটি প্যাসিভ ভয়েসে সাবজেক্ট হিসেবে বসেছে তার ওই পরিবর্তিত সাবজেক্টটির নাম্বার, পার্সন, জেন্ডারের উপর ভিত্তি করে এক টেন্স সামনে অক্সিলারি ভার্ব বসবে। নাম্বার 3, অ্যাক্টিভ ভয়েসের মূল ক্রিয়া, দ্যাট মিনস মেইন ভার্ব, যে রূপেই থাকুক না কেন প্যাসিভ ভয়েসে তার পাস্ট পার্টিসিপল ফ্রম বসবে, যেমন ইট হলে ইটেন। দেন নাম্বার 4, অ্যাক্টিভ ভয়েসে ট্রানজিটিভ ভার্ব যা প্যাসিভ ভয়েসে পাস্ট পার্টিসিপল ফ্রম হয়েছে উক্ত ট্রানজিটিভ এর উপর ভিত্তি করে প্রিপোজিশন বসবে, যেমন মেড বাই, নন টু ইত্যাদি। দেন নাম্বার 5, অ্যাক্টিভ ভয়েসের সাবজেক্টটি প্যাসিভ ভয়েসে গিয়ে তার অবজেক্ট হিসেবে বসবে, অর্থাৎ ওই সাবজেক্টটির অবজেক্টিভ ফ্রম বসবে, যেমন আই হলে মি। ফর এক্সাম্পল, মাহি হেল্পস রোজালি। ইন প্যাসিভ, রোজালি হেল্পড বাই মাহি। That's all my information.
Okay, now Rifat, you say about any critical point, voice, any critical point, just you can share.
Okay, sir.
Or
Coordinates,
you
you take my
can
salam and
share
assalamu
only
alaikum.
one point, no problem. You can share only one point, no problem, because I want to know something from your side.
Okay, sir. There are one question. There are three kinds of voice, which are passive voice, active voice, passive voice, and quasi voice, passive voice. Active voice, when the subject of a sentence is the doer and or actor, so actor is called active voice. Because the subject is active. Example, I like a mango. I like a mango. 2, passive voice, when the subject of a sentence is acted by upon, so it's called a passive voice. Example, the mango eaten by me. The mango eaten by me. Quasi passive voice. A quasi passive voice was a voice is active in from but passive instance. And we call a quasi passive voice. Example, honey tastes sweet. Honey tastes sweet. There are two following verb, which are verb with a complement and verb without a complement. And active, honey is taste sweet, and passive, honey is sweet. Honey is sweet when it is taste.
Okay, Rifat,
And
thank you.
there are
Rifat, thank you for your sharing. So now Musa Mondol, please, you say something. Musa, I want to give chance to Musa. Yes, any topic or any point you can share. Sound, mute your sound, mute, not mute, unmute your sound, unmute your sound. Yes.
At first, my Kuril salam assalamu alaikum. My name is MD Muhammad Musa Mondol. I am from Dakpin Moinom High School and College. Active থেকে প্যাসিভ করার নিয়ম। নাম্বার 1, অ্যাক্টিভ ভয়েস এর অবজেক্ট প্যাসিভ ভয়েস এ গিয়ে সাবজেক্ট হিসাবে বসবে, অর্থাৎ ওই অবজেক্টের সুপারলেটিভ ফর্ম যা হবে সেটি বসবে, যেমন আমি হলে আই। নাম্বার 2, অ্যাক্টিভ ভয়েস এ অবজেক্টটি যখন প্যাসিভ ভয়েস এ সাবজেক্ট হিসাবে বসবে, আর ওই পরিবর্তিত সাবজেক্টের নাম্বার, পার্সন, জেন্ডার এর উপর ভিত্তি করে অ্যাক্টেন্স
Okay, thank you, Musa. Thank you, Musa, for sharing your feeling very nicely with us.